Okay, let's go and grab our fetch. So you can see, okay, my Jenkins is up, fine. Now, so what I'll be doing is like in our particular configuration, right? So let me put up in that particular diagram. So here what we'll do is like, we already have our particular master, right? So we already set up our master Jenkins. So let's say currently this is your Jenkins master, right? And basically what we are doing in this particular machine, we are just creating your jobs and running them, basically administrative tasks like I mentioned, right? So now let's say you got like multiple clients. Imagine that this is your build machine 1, 2 and 3. There are like 3 machines that you need to configure up, right? So what you're going to do is like on your master. So when you are configuring your master, right, you need to go with some series of steps, right? First one is you need to make handshake between. Just a second, there's some problem. Shrikant, can you like just what do you say? Log in with your audio. I mean like PC audio, not the telephone call. So you need to make sure that you are making handshake between your master and slaves. I mean like basically we call them like nodes as well. In terminology we call them nodes. This is the first thing you need to make it up, right? So you know, right, what is the meaning of handshaking between the machines? Communication. So how are you going to make that communication? Sorry. So let's say I mean like my master should run the tasks on this machine, right? Yes, I need to give the access. How I'm going to give that access? Using username. Nope. So if I give username, it would be a problem because I need to give the passwords and everything, right? Basically, whenever you make the contact, you make it with your public and private keys. Yeah, right. So basically, making handshake is nothing but generating public and private keys to go and log in there. Right. Actually, I'm logging with my what do you say Mac terminal to my Google Cloud. So I'm doing it. I'm just making a handshake. I'm creating private and public key, updating it to their particular server. That's what you need to do with your master and slaves as well. So you're generating the keys, but like we are adding it to your local machines here, you need to add it up with your Jenkins slave machines. Okay, fine. So you can hear it, right? Yes. Okay. Right. So what you're doing is like making the handshake between the master and your nodes. So why we are making this particular thing? Because my master, I mean like my Jenkins master nodes. It is going to run those particular processes on my nodes actually. Because now let's say in this particular machine, Java project should be built up. Let's say imagine that in this particular slave, so what I'll do is like in this slave, so let's say this is my node 1, right? In this node 1, what I'll do is like I'll put my websites, right? In node 2, I'll put something like my Java standalone application, if not web application. So whenever I am running my website, it should automatically build on this server, node 1. What configuration is done on? Making sense? So what I'm talking about? So why I want to do that actually? What is the reason for that? To reduce the burden on my master server, so that I should not overload my main server machine, right? Because all the configuration is actually present in that machine, right? That's the reason. So when you are going this process, right, each and every node you need to make sure that what you are going to work with. So let's say if I want to work with my website, what are all the things I need here? No, just a website, normal, like what we did, that food website. Do I need application server for that? Web server, right? Let's say I need web server, and other thing, I need Git, right? To push get the changes. I don't need Maven. It's a web server, right? It's not Java based. Right? This too is good enough actually. But when you want your master to make communication with your clients, every client should have Java to be installed first thing. This is a prerequisite number 1. If Java is not installed, it cannot make communication, because Jenkins completely works on a Java tunnel. Right? Now let's say in my node 2, I want to set up Maven web application. What are the things I need to work here? Java, yes. Git, Maven, Tomcat, yes. Anything else? Is that good enough? Right? These are the things which are required at my node 2. So making sense? I mean like depending upon the type of project you are working on, that's how you need to configure your nodes. Right? So let's say I'll configure first one node and see how our website will work. Right? So first thing what I need to do? First rule is I need to make handshake between the machines. Rule number 1. Right? What's the rule number 1? I need to make the handshake. But yesterday, no, I did not make any handshake, right? Before making the handshake, make sure that you have Jenkins user with login access to other nodes. Right? Yesterday, we were not able to execute some tasks. Why? Because it was having no access at all. It has got no TTY, no bash at all. Right? So you need to go with some rules. So let me put those rules actually. It will make it easy for you to do. Right? Steps. Slave configuration. So what is the first thing I need to go with? So 2 steps. Let's say on master. This is on master. Right? What I need to do on my master? Okay, what is the user I need to create? So will I create it? Right? So I'm not creating, right? Yesterday did I create the user called Jenkins by user add? No. So it automatically installed when I was setting that package, right? So user will be installed, no problem. But does that user has the access? No, right? It does not have access. So what is the next thing I need to do? Give the Jenkins user, what do you say? Login access. How you are going to do that? Right? Yesterday we did that. And what's the next thing I need to do? No. Handshake should be there. But if I give bash, is it going to be good enough? No, right? Yes. So I need to give the sudo access. Making sense? So what's the step? Second step actually? So why I'm doing that? It can access other nodes. So basically, if it wants to access other nodes, I need to have master control, right, of this master server. So that's the reason why we are adding this user to sudoers group. So it depends on type of things you are adding. So it might be. So what are the types of things I can add it to my? How many ways I can add it? Can anyone tell me? How many ways I can add one user to give this? I mean, like root-like permissions. Just a second. One is through command. So what's the command? Usermod -ag. Let's say that respective group name user Jenkins. Right. Second way, vi sudo. Is good any other way? Not SU. That's it. These two things you can add it up. If not, depending upon the groups, you can add it up, or depending upon the type of, let's say, AWS or Google Cloud, you will have the specific files to be added. That is done. Right. Now let's go back. Right. Right. Once you do this sudo file, so I can simply say sudo. This is also fine. Right. Next, what is the next thing I need to do? Restart. Yeah, after changing. Okay, fine. Because it will stuck here, right? If you don't restart, right? Then, so if I want to make handshake, what is the first thing I need to do? So what we call that? Generate key pair, right? I need to generate key pairs, right? So how I'm going to generate it? SSH hyphen keygen. This will give you two set of files. One is public key, private key. Private key resides in your server. Public key you will make it to authenticate it. Sorry, the other way. Private key will be with you actually. Public key would be there in your servers. Right? Now, what is the next thing? So actually you are done with your master. So these are the things, 4 steps which you need to follow. Now I need to go into my on nodes. Right. Okay, first step. Install Java builds. Right. Both Java. Actually, when you say Java, Java and JavaScript both should come into the picture. Sorry, Git. Okay, I mean like these are like based upon the projects, but mandatorily you need to have first Java to be installed, right? And apart from this, make sure that you create a user called Jenkins. That is also very, very important. So why we are creating this user is basically you want to isolate all the settings of Jenkins user. Sorry. I mean, like, let's say if I go and create with Ravi also, it would be good, but generally you want to avoid that. So keep this particular Jenkins user for just building your Jenkins jobs. That's it. Because when I run, right, all my jobs, everything is going to be created in that specific user. So I don't want to, what you say, club this Ravi user and Jenkins user both. So that's the reason why I'm completely going and creating separate user called Jenkins, and I'll authenticate to the Jenkins itself, right? And what you need to do more is like, yep. After creating the Jenkins user, same step. Because what happens in that build machine, Jenkins is going to execute those tasks. Fetching the files from your GitHub, using Java to compile, using Java to execute, everything is going to done with the Jenkins user, because that is the user which we are going and asking up, right? So once you do this sudo verse file, next thing, yes, no, here I won't use any passwords. So why I'm generating SSH keys over there? So I did not come. This is the third step I was going to talk about, right? So what I'll do is like basically I'll allow my super user called Jenkins, I mean like my master user, to come and work on the specific things. I mean like he will not work, he'll tell how to work. So you need to bring up Jenkins, I mean like you need to bring up Git files, then start executing them, right? Building up all those things I'll tell here. User, that's for just like isolating the work, not for any task. So this Jenkins user does not have any communication with master. Only master will talk. So if I want to talk the other way, right, what I need to do, I even need to do SSH gen here as well, key gen. No, it's up to you. You can create any name you want. So generally in real time, to avoid clumsiness, right, we'll just go with the Jenkins user. That's it. Any name you want, just like create your name and add it over there. That's it. Right. So next what I'll do is like I'll add my Jenkins user public key in authorized keys. Why? Because I want my Jenkins users to come and work. I mean like assign the task basically. So add public key of Jenkins master in, where I need to add it, in which file? Sorry. Now I want my master, I mean like the above master, I mean like user called Jenkins from my master machine to basically access this machine called node. So where I need to add the settings? Node, known host, not known host, authorized keys. That is very important to remember as well, right? So I'll add it in authorized underscore keys. This would be there in your .ssh directory, right? This is all the process I need to go and do it up first, right? Anything else? So till here it is mandatory for any node you configure, any node you work on. From here it depends upon the type of server you are working on. Is it a web project? Is it a WordPress project? Is it Java based project? Is it Python based? Is it Node.js based? Right? Let's say if you are working on something like WordPress applications. So what my node should have apart from this? So how your WordPress is working? Yeah, tell me. MySQL is needed, PHP is needed, Apache server is also needed. WordPress should also be needed. So those four things I need to make sure it has in this server. If I'm working on WordPress based applications, right? So that's how we need to actually go and configure this, right? So here we are currently working on web application, right? I mean like just a website. So what is going to be here? Right? These are the things I need to have here, right? So let's go to my, so I'll create a new node machine here, just a second. So I'll say it like something like slave one, right? I'm giving the name as slave one, and let me go and create one small machine. So I'll say I'll use the same CentOS machine, and I'll add up my .ssh keys. Dot public. So this I'm going to access because I want to access the client as well. So I'll come here and I'll paste it. CentOS 7, right? No, I'm creating the second node. So I already have master with me. So I need nodes, right, to control. I'm creating a node here. Second machine I'm creating in the background. Once it is up, I'll go and, yeah, I'm just auditing the same Google Cloud. Okay, okay. Yep. So this machine is getting up. So I just created a machine called okay, it's still creating. Yeah. Right. So I just went and I created a machine called slave one. Right. Now I think in my master, I think like most of the steps are already done, right? So let's go to master. Yes, we have given the user access. We went yesterday password file. So if I check in my password file, vim/etc password, okay, not password, just let's say tail. So yesterday we went and we have given the access to my Jenkins user saying bin bash, right? Yesterday it was not there like this. And also what is the next step we need to do? We need to add the Jenkins to the sudoers file. So here that one is Google sudoers, right? I'll say id Jenkins and he is part of Google sudoers, right? Second is also done. And if I go and check, we have restarted our Jenkins. Now, did we generate that key pair? This is a step remaining. And where you need to generate, that is very important. Can I generate here that keys? Where should I generate those authentication? I mean like that key pair file. Sorry? Bin? Nope. So where should I generate those key pair? I should go with the Jenkins, right? Because Jenkins is the user who is going to control all the things. So what I need to do? I need to go to my Jenkins user, log in with Jenkins user, generate the SSH key. Making sense? Confused. Right? What happens if I generate it here? Nothing. Because Jenkins is not Ravi, right? Ravi is the other user who is like system admin for this specific machine. But Jenkins is the person, I mean like user who is controlling all the build process and everything. He is the automation server owner actually, right? So what I'll do is like How you are going to switch the user to Jenkins? Su hyphen Jenkins. Is asking password. Right? Actually, you need to say sudo su Jenkins. Right? Now so whenever you come here, make sure when you shift your directories, right? By default, it will stay in your old users directory. Now, if I say pwd, you see it's still there in Ravi. But what is the actual home directory of my Jenkins? Varlib Jenkins. That's the actual home directory for me. So to do it there, I'll just say cd enter, and if I say pwd, I'm currently in the home directory of my Jenkins. So make sure that again, if you do sh keys in there, it is still generated again in your Ravi user only. Once you switch, make sure you do cd enter or cd tilde, so that you'll go to the home directory. Right? Make sure when you are generating sh keys, you are under this directory, varlib Jenkins. Right? Now how I need to generate my sh keys? Ssh hyphen keygen. Right? This is going to generate the public and private keys for me. Right? It went and it generated the public and private keys for me. What is the next step I need to do? So I think yes, my master is perfect now. Everything looks good here. Now I need to go to my node, right? So let's go to my slave one. So what's the next first step that needs to be done here? Create Jenkins user. Okay, I'll say sudo user add Jenkins. Right? So I should not log in with the password actually. That's what I'm trying to say. Always the secure communication happens with your private and public keys. You can avoid passwords because everyone can easily break your passwords, right? I told you that DDoS attack. Yesterday I was talking about. So with the username, or let's say combination of all your dictionary check words, they'll easily track all your passwords and they try keep on hitting with multiple passwords, thousands and lakhs of passwords. If something hits, you're done. So always go with the public and private key authentication. So generally we call this like passwordless authentication. So we got two types of authentication. One is password, another is passwordless. Right? Do you know where you need to change those settings? So let's say now I want to use password to login. Am I using password right now? No. So where I can change that? No. For everything. So basically there you don't have any, sir, right? So if I say sudo tail /etc password file, am I getting that? No, I cannot go and change it here, right? No. So you have a file called sudo vi/etc sshd config. Remember this file, important. So this is the file which defines all your security settings of your SSH connection. Because when you make a handshake, right? I mean, like when you are making passwordless authentications, connection between server and different clients, it always happens through SSH, right? All your SSH settings should be present under this file. Right? If I open this file, you see it says the port number you are using, right? It says what is your host keys, right? Then it says, you see, permit root login. That's the reason why we are not able to log in with roots. If you say yes, yes, we can log in with roots. It says password authentication. No. That's the reason why you cannot log in with passwords. Always you take any cloud, they will defaultly go with all the security measures. Whereas in your virtual box which you are keeping, nothing is secured. You are the person who need to go and change all this according to your settings. Right? Fine. Okay, so fine. We created the user. Right? What's the next thing? Add that Jenkins user to sudo's file. So what I'll say here, sudo user mod -ag What is the group? Hyphen sudoers and Jenkins. Okay, user mod, right? So I have given wrong command. User mod. Now it went and added this specific user to the sudoers file. Now what is the next step I need to go? So where should I add it? No. So by default, it will create authorized keys in your Google Cloud, no problem, in the cloud. But whereas in your particular local systems, you need to create it by yourselves, right? But my question is, where should I add this public key? So I told that authorized keys, fine. But should I add here or with Ravi user or Jenkins user? Yes, we have created the Jenkins user. Right, so I generated my SSH key from Jenkins users in my master server. So here this is little bit tricky, that's what I told. So most of the people get confused and generate keys here, add these keys over there, then you'll get obviously permission errors, right? So make sure that you are going to the Jenkins user. So I'll do that, and you see I'm still under Ravi directory only. So let's say cd enter. I am currently in the Jenkins machine. Right, if I say ls, nothing is there here currently, right? Okay, so next you need to add it to the authorized keys. What you will add? Public key of Jenkins master, right? So let's go and grab the public key here, vim dot ssh id underscore rsa dot pub, public key of your master. Okay, this is my master, right? I am copying the public key of master and I am adding to my Jenkins user authorized file. So I'll say vim dot ssh. You're not getting it? In this node, this is where it would be there. Dot ssh. Okay, it's not created, right? Okay, fine. Then okay, why it not created? Because actually it was created in my Ravi user. Here you don't have this, right? So you can either go and create it manually. If you want to avoid, just run ssh keygen again. Yeah, it will automatically create that public and private key, right? So I'll say ssh hyphen keygen. If not, you don't want this, just create dot ssh directory. Under that, create a file called authorized keys, authorized underscore keys, right? Anyway, so let's say I'll say mkdir dot ssh. You can go like this, right? And you can say vi dot ssh authorized authorized underscore keys. And in this particular file, I'll give the public key of my Jenkins master, right? And let's go and save it up, right? Fine. So I have my .ssh authorized keys. Both are good with me, right? Now, if this connection is good, right, I should be able to actually log in from my Jenkins master to this machine. That's how you need to check whether the connection is perfect or not. So I'll go to my Jenkins machine and I'll say SSH. What's the username? Jenkins at what is the IP of this machine? Slave 1. Okay, this is the slave 1 machine, right? So I'm copying the IP of my slave 1 machine and I'll give it. Now it should be able to successfully log into that machine. Then only it makes sure that connection is established perfectly, right? So yes, okay, it says permission denied. So we are in the user, we are in Jenkins. It's correct only, right? .vi ssh authorized keys. SSH is there, Jenkins at Jenkins. Okay, everything looks good here. Anyone knows how to debug these kind of issues? Let's say now I'm getting permission error. So how I'm going to debug it actually? No. No. So we got something like var. So you got like two options. One is like you can say vim dot var log. You got something called like secure. This is one of the file which maintains all the history actually. So let's see what it's trying to say actually. So this is one method. See, it's you see it is going and tracking everything what I did from day one. You see it created. Then I added the user called that particular thing there. So it's just 0%. I'll go to the end of the file. Yep, it says what is the thing it's trying to say. No, I'm not getting any specific information here, right? No. So there is no specific thing which is going here, right? This is not helpful at all. So another method is uh, yes. So there is something called like a verbose option is there, right? What does verbose option do generally? It gives the detailed information like what's going in the background, right? So I'll give -v. So this is one of the particular options you need to remember. Whenever you are not getting access to connect to the machines, right? Always use this -v. It will tell you like what's happening on the screen actually, right? Okay, so it says what it says come from the first open SSL. So our connection is going through SSL, right? Connecting connection established. So it was able to go to port number 22. That is good. Then it says identity key. Okay, fine. It says remote software. So where did we got the error? Next authentication. Sorry? No, because slave does not need access of my Jenkins master, right? Only master is the one who needs to do the tasks. Unspecified minor code. It says there is no valid key. Yes, fine. I understood. So the problem was whenever you work with your SSH configuration, right? You should always make sure that you have the correct kind of permissions. So now what I was telling you is if I go to my Jenkins, see what is the permission I'm having here? So generally anyone knows like what kind of permission should be there for .ssh. So let's say I am going to let's say I log into another console now. So I'm currently logging with the Ravi, not Jenkins. What is the connection here for my Ravi user? So always remember whenever you are making SSH connections, you should always have 700 permissions for .ssh directory. And what is the permissions here? Some other permissions are there. So these are all generally rules you need to remember when you're configuring settings. If you don't go with, you can never understand like what's the problem actually. Right? And similarly, if I go to my Ravi slave again, and what is the permissions for your authorized keys? Correct. Now what should be the permission for .ssh? It should be, I mean like 700 permissions. And for your authorized keys, you can see it, right? What's the permissions for authorized keys? 600. So two things to remember. I'll draw it down here. So when you are going with your authorized keys, the substep is create dot ssh with 700 permissions. And what's the second? Create with 600 permissions. Fine. That is definitely you need to do. Right? Even I forgot this particular thing. That's the reason why we are getting there. So I will go to my Jenkins. Right? I'll say how to change the permissions. Chmod 700 dot ssh. What is the next permission I need to do? Right? Making sense why I'm changing these permissions? Because these are the rules which you need to follow when you are going with SSH configurations or SSH connections. Right? Now let's go into my bash and try to do -v again, connect to the slave. Yep. You see, connection was successful and I'm logged in into Jenkins at slave 1. Making sense? Confused? I'm not sure whether you're getting this topic. Okay, I'll explain like what we are trying to do. Right, so currently where I'm actually? In slave, right? Home Jenkins. If I do, where I'm right now? In master. So why I did actually? What is the purpose? So okay, I fine. I'll stop the session here first. So we'll talk it on the shake on this. Yes, only in the slaves. Private key. You're still getting the error. Fine. Okay, we'll debug it. Shrikant, did you understand like what we are trying to say today? Yes, fine. So we'll stop the session today here. So what we did was just basically we went and we connected our what do you say Jenkins master to slave. That is the particular thing. So from tomorrow we'll do these particular steps. So after this we got successful authentication, right? Tomorrow we'll go and set up Java and all these particular things, right? Okay. So I'm ending the session.